Article 50, European Union Artificial Intelligence Act. What is Article 50? We can see here transparency obligation for providers and deployers of certain artificial intelligence system. Let's go first to see examples, and then I will show you what this really is. Okay, this is our examples. We have chatbots, deepfakes, artificial intelligent content, emotion recognitions. First of all, let's go to dive in chatbots. Usage examples, customer support, chatbot on websites, artificial intelligent assistant in banking, telecom, or e-commerce, artificial intelligent chat interface in applications. So what the law requires, users must be clearly informed that they are interacting with artificial intelligence. This can be done with a label, like they tell you that this is artificial assistant or chatbot by artificial intelligence or whatever, or a visible notice at the start of the conversations. If it's already obvious, for example, a clearly named artificial intelligent assistant in application, the law allows some flexibility, but the burden is on the provider to justify that is obvious. So what's solid? The principle is clear. People should know they are not talking to a human. So I think this is a really good thing, and the law does not define exactly when something is obvious. The law now it's not 100% determined about all of this, but good thing is that they start to do this, especially with chatbots, because let's go to see. When you use, for example, banking, a lot of people do not understand that they do not speak with human. They speak with artificial intelligence, and they lose a lot of time, and on the end they don't get anything. The good thing is that in chatbots you need to know if you speak with a human or this is just AI. Now we have deepfakes and public interest content, and we have examples. AI generated videos of politicians, celebrities, or public figures. We have AI generated news style content, AI synthesized images or audio used in campaigns or public messaging. What the law requires? Content must be clearly labeled as artificial. The label must be visible and understandable to average person. This is especially important for content that could influence public opinion. Okay, I want to just to be clear. Here they say average person. This is not about IQ or something like that. There is a lot of people, they are not interested in computers, operating system, coding, video editing or whatever. They use computers because they need to use, or maybe they just have computers for relax, and they do not understand artificial intelligence, and they do not understand how artificial intelligence is able to influence on them. So this is great, and I'm really happy that artificial everything what is created need to be clearly labeled to everyone, that everyone is able to understand. And the best thing is that in the future with this no one will be able to influence on you or public opinion. This is really good. The goal is clear: prevent deception and manipulation. I agree with this, and I think that this Article 50 it's a good start point, and I hope that they will develop even more and stronger than it is now. Platforms and creators will have a legal duty to label deepfakes intended for public. I think because this is just the beginning, of course, it will be some shady or unclear things, but in the future, I think very soon they will fix all of these things. We have generative artificial intelligent content like text, images, audio, video, AI written articles, blog posts, and social media content. Then, for example, we have AI generated images for marketing or editorial use, and we have AI voiceovers and synthetic speech, AI generated video clips. What the law requires from these providers must ensure outputs can be marked in machine readable format. This is not just a visible watermark, it's technical marking that allow the detection by the system. Provider must build this into their system. This pushes the industry toward technical standard for AI content detection, and this is good. So you will not need to think anymore. You will be able to detect that this is AI. It creates a baseline for platforms and regulator to trace synthetic content. Of course, even here we have shady and uncertain things, but like I say, this is just the beginning. Then we have emotion recognition and biometric categorization, and we have examples, systems that claim to detect emotion from facial expression or voice, systems that categorize people by biometric traits for marketing, hiring, or security. What this law require? Individuals must be informed that they are exposed to these systems. This applies to deployers who use this system on people. This protects people from being silently classified by their emotions or biometrics. It adds a layer of accountability and transparency. We can go further. So what are the real benefits of Article 50? It increases trust. When people know that, for example, they are interacting with artificial intelligence or see artificial intelligence generated content, they can make more informed decisions. This reduces the risk of being misled. With artificial intelligence, you can very easily mislead people, and I'm really happy that they will reduce this. It creates legal clarity. Before the Artificial Intelligence Act, there was no harmonized European Union wide rule of labeling artificial intelligence or artificial intelligent content. Article 50 sets a clear baseline. This is really great. What is more interesting, it pushes the industry toward better technical standards. What we're talking about? We're talking about that machine readable marking and detection will encourage cooperation between providers, platforms, and regulators. For me, what I like the most, that this protect these most vulnerable groups, people exposed to emotion recognition or biometric systems are now legally protected from being silently classified. It sends a global signal. European Union is often a global standard setter, and today we all know about GDPR, and GDPR showed how European Union rules can shape global practices. Article 50 may do the same for artificial intelligence transparency. So this is very good thing. There is a thing that they are not finished, or they are shady or uncertain, but like I said before, this is just a start. And we have a bottom line. Article 50 is a strong step toward transparency in artificial intelligence. It makes it a legal requirement that people know when artificial intelligence is involved, and it pushes providers and deployers to mark and label artificial intelligence content. And we can see more that benefits are clear, more trust, more accountability, and less deception. But there are real limits: imperfect technology, enforcement challenges, and some legal. But to be honest, like I said before, Article 50 is just a beginning. But don't think that this is something far, far, far away. I just want to emphasize one thing. If you are building or using artificial intelligence, especially in European Union, you should treat Article 50 as a serious legal obligation with a hard deadline, August 2026. What that mean? That you don't have a lots of times. This is not something will happen. I know I have 5 years and who knows what will happen. No, in August 26. So preparation now can save you from legal risk and reputational damage later. Okay, let's go now to see what really Article 50 is.
Article 50. Transparency obligations for providers and deployers of certain AI systems. Summary. 1. This article states that companies must inform users when they are interacting with an AI system unless it's obvious or the AI is used for legal purposes like crime detection. AI systems that create synthetic content, like deepfakes, must mark their outputs as artificially generated. Companies must also inform users when they use AI for emotion recognition or biometric categorisation, unless it's for legal purposes. If an AI system creates or alters content, the company must disclose this, unless it's for legal purposes or the content is artistic or satirical. The AI Office will help create guidelines for detecting and labeling artificially generated content.
2. Providers shall ensure that AI systems intended to interact directly with natural persons are designed and developed in such a way that the natural persons concerned are informed that they are interacting with an AI system, unless this is obvious from the point of view of a natural person who is reasonably well informed, observant, and circumspect, taking into account the circumstances and the context of use. This obligation shall not apply to AI systems authorized by law to detect, prevent, investigate, or prosecute criminal offenses, subject to appropriate safeguards for the rights and freedoms of third parties, unless those systems are available for the public to report a criminal offense.
Providers of AI systems, including general-purpose AI systems, generating synthetic audio, image, video, or text content, shall ensure that the outputs of the AI system are marked in a machine-readable format and detectable as artificially generated or manipulated. Providers shall ensure their technical solutions are effective, interoperable, robust, and reliable as far as this is technically feasible, taking into account the specificities and limitations of various types of content, the costs of implementation, and the generally acknowledged state of the art, as may be reflected in relevant technical standards. This obligation shall not apply to the extent the AI systems perform an assistive function for standard editing or do not substantially alter the input data provided by the deployer or the semantics thereof, or where authorized by law to detect, prevent, investigate, or prosecute criminal offenses. 3. Deployers of an emotion recognition system or a biometric categorisation system shall inform the natural persons exposed thereto of the operation of the system, and shall process the personal data in accordance with regulations EU 2016/679 and EU 2018/1725 and Directive EU 2016/680 as applicable. This obligation shall not apply to AI systems used for biometric categorization and emotion recognition, which are permitted by law to detect, prevent, or investigate criminal offenses, subject to appropriate safeguards for the rights and freedoms of third parties, and in accordance with union law. 4. Deployers of an AI system that generates or manipulates image, audio, or video content constituting a deepfake shall disclose that the content has been artificially generated or manipulated. This obligation shall not apply where the use is authorized by law to detect, prevent, investigate, or prosecute criminal offense, where the content forms part of an evidently artistic, creative, satirical, fictional, or analogous work or program. The transparency obligations set out in this paragraph are limited to disclosure of the existence of such generated or manipulated content in an appropriate manner that does not hamper the display or enjoyment of the work. Deployers of an AI system that generates or manipulates text, which is published with the purpose of informing the public on matters of public interest, shall disclose that the text has been artificially generated or manipulated. This obligation shall not apply where the use is authorized by law to detect, prevent, investigate, or prosecute criminal offenses, or where the AI-generated content has undergone a process of human review or editorial control, and where a natural or legal person holds editorial responsibility for the publication of the content. 5. The information referred to in paragraphs 1 to 4 shall be provided to the natural persons concerned in a clear and distinguishable manner at the latest at the time of the first interaction or exposure. The information shall conform to the applicable accessibility requirements. 6. Paragraphs 1 to 4 shall not affect the requirements and obligations set out in Chapter 3, and shall be without prejudice to other transparency obligations laid down in union or national law for deployers of AI systems. 7. The AI Office shall encourage and facilitate the drawing up of codes of practice at union level to facilitate the effective implementation of the obligations regarding the detection and labeling of artificially generated or manipulated content. The Commission may adopt implementing acts to approve those codes of practice in accordance with the procedure laid down in Article 56(6). If it deems the code is not adequate, the Commission may adopt an implementing act, specifying common rules for the implementation of those obligations in accordance with the examination procedure laid down in Article 98(2).
Article 50 of the EU AI Act is one of the first major laws that forces AI systems to be transparent in a way that is legally binding across the entire European Union. It's not just a recommendation, it's a legal requirement that affects companies that build AI tools, businesses that use AI with customers, and creators who publish AI-generated content. If you are building or using AI in the EU, Article 50 will directly impact your workflows, your products, and what you tell users. Explanation. What the rule is, legally, Article 50 creates mandatory transparency obligations for providers and deployers of certain AI systems. The law says that people must be informed when they are interacting with AI or when they are exposed to AI-generated content. Legally, this means AI systems that interact with people, like chatbots. The provider must design the system so that users clearly know they are talking to an AI, not a human. This is not required if it is already obvious from the context, but obvious is not defined in detail in the law, which leaves room for interpretation. Generative AI systems, text, image, audio, video. Providers must ensure that outputs can be marked in a way that is detectable as artificially generated. The law requires a machine-readable format so that downstream systems, platforms, and regulators can detect that content is synthetic. This is a legal obligation, not optional tagging. Deepfakes and AI content intended to inform the public. Deployers who use deepfakes or AI-generated content for public communication must clearly label it as artificial. This covers content that could influence public opinion, news, and political messaging. Emotion recognition and biometric categorization systems. Deployers must inform individuals that they are exposed to these systems. This is meant to protect people from being silently classified by their emotions or biometric traits. The law is not limited to high-risk AI. Article 50 applies to these specific use cases regardless of risk classification. That's unusual. Most of the AI Act focuses on high-risk systems, but Article 50 is about transparency across a broader set of AI uses. The key compliance deadline is August 2026. After that, non-compliance can lead to penalties. There is also a code of practice being finalized to explain how to implement the marking and labeling rules in practice. While the code itself is not binding, it becomes a practical benchmark for what regulators will consider reasonable compliance.
Okay, I hope that you now understand more what is Article 50, and if you are in European Union or if you work in USA but you have products in European Union or whatever, but if you are connected somehow with European Union and you use artificial intelligence, you need to follow Article 50 and deadline is August 2026. I hope that this video will help you and see you soon. Cheers!